Hello everybody and welcome to Glen Helen. It's the final round of the FIA Motocross World Championship, MXGP, and we are here in Southern California. It's beautiful sunshine here, and Lisa, it's the last of the 3 flyaways, but at the same time it's the final one of the year and your final studio show of the season.
I know, it's pretty sad, but it's been an incredible season. Both championships wrapped up last weekend, and it's nice to have the closing chapter here, I think, in Glen Helen.
Well, I'm sure it'll be a great one as well, just like we had in Charlotte 1 week ago. But on our studio show this week, we have Eli Tomac, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. We've got Romain Febvre from Monster Energy Yamaha, and also Michel Bayle, a guy who's won twice around here in 500 Grand Prix. But before we meet our guests, let's see what happened. Here's some highlights from the second race from the MXGP of Americas at Charlotte 1 week ago. The final race of the day, MXGP Race 2. Across the foxhole shot was the new world champion, Tim Geiser, as he streaked clear through the very fast first turn. Kodenhoff, Bobryshev, Nagel and Tomac were right there in his wheel tracks. The 2 Belgians of Van Horbik and de Salle battled early on for 4th place, as Tomac started to make his way towards the front of the field. Got himself into 3rd on the number 3 Monster Energy Kawasaki behind the Red Bull KTM of Glenn Kodenhoff. The 2 battled for a couple of corners before Tomac went through, as Barsha pulled out. Tim Geiser looking good at the head of the field. Tomac only able to knock a couple of tenths off here and there as he went in pursuit of the new MXGP World Champion. Bobryshev looking good as well in 4th place for Team HRC. But then Tim Geiser lost the front in a wet patch, picked himself up, kept the engine going, but as quick as that, Tomac was by and into the lead. Geiser then struggled to find his rhythm, and that allowed Tomac just to edge clear as the race went on. Van Horbik doing his best to hold off Clement de Salle as they battled over 4th, and pretty soon they were joined by Romain Febvre, the second of the Monster Energy Yamaha riders. Jordi Tixier was waiting in the wings as well, but it was these 3 here, the 2 Yamahas and the Kawasaki, that provided the fireworks. The Yamahas eventually got rid of de Salle as they battled over 4th. Van Horbik lost out initially to Romain Febvre, but then he just kept the power on all the way around the outside as he was chasing his first podium since round 2. This is round 17. Tomac dominant at the head of the field. Geiser looking solid as he has done all year and looking good for a podium, but it was Tomac who won the overall. Geiser came home 2nd to take 2nd overall, and Glenn Kodenhoff came home 3rd, but just missing out on the podium this weekend because it went to the Yamaha of Jeremy Van Horbik. So the Monster Energy MXGP of Americas round 17 belonged to Eli Tomac. As Geiser celebrated swapping red for gold, Jeremy Van Horbik celebrating his first podium in 15 rounds. Well, that was last week in Charlotte, North Carolina, but this week we're on the West Coast, and Eli Tomac, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team, joins us. Welcome to the final round of MXGP. And after last week, you can add MXGP Grand Prix winner to your already impressive list of CVs. Tell us how it was last weekend in Charlotte, just the running of the event in your eyes.
You know, I really enjoyed it, you know. I couldn't believe what the racetrack turned into from the amount of rain we got the day before. It was pretty awesome. To be honest, I wasn't very optimistic on how it was going to turn out. But it was a good racetrack. You know, it was a good day for us from the beginning with a good qualifying time. And there, the gate pick was really important. The inside kind of had a advantage from when we went down into that hole. It was pretty soft from the middle to the outside. So qualifying was important. I put that in my head in the beginning, and we went out there and did it. And you know, a lot of times when you have a good start of the day, that kind of just carries you throughout the day.
What about that first race battle with Justin Barsha? I know it was brief, but you put yourself in a good position, like you say, you had that inside line. Mm-hmm. But how was that battle with you and Justin, a guy you know very well, I'm sure?
Yeah, it's a guy that I race, you know, every weekend that we're racing here in America. So, you know, that was familiar for me. you know, we went at it for a little bit there, and I don't know exactly where. I remember passing right there, but mechanics maybe got close to him. But
I think it was at the next right before they dropped back in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. On the inside right there, he just overshot that tabletop a little bit. I remember, and it was a little bit muddy out there. So got by him on the inside, and led the rest of the race. Had one little tip over, but you know, didn't slow us down that much.
We didn't show that.
Eli, were you surprised at how easy it was? Because you've raced some of the guys before at the Motocross Nations, and there's some good guys out there, isn't there? So.
Yeah, I mean, every time I've been to the Nations, we've been beat. You know, I've had some awesome battles there with Roxon on the 250s, and then in Latvia on the 450. You know, I was always buried in the start there. So. And we were getting beat. So I guess that first moto was a little bit of a surprise for myself, you know, that I was able to pull out, you know, 20 seconds.
What about the battle of race 2? Because there were two things here. First of all, the battle in the beginning with Tim Geiser having to close him down. But it was also the first time you raced under the lights over the whole weekend because everything was cancelled on Saturday.
Yeah, that you know, it was something different for sure. The first moto, you know, there were some shadows with the sun. Second moto, it was just, you know, you're dealing with artificial light. So for what it was, I think it was pretty well done. You know, I guess we kind of have a close race to this element, which would be Daytona, you know, for our Supercross series. But you know, and then going to that moto itself, I think me and Geiser probably had a pretty good battle brewing until he slid out there, you know.
Slightly different surroundings here at Glen Helen. Day race, a track I guess you know pretty well. You looking forward to it?
I am. You know, this is a good real motocross track, you know, and it's just a big open track, you know. There's no excuses for not making passes. You know, there's big hills. There's going to be a lot of lines. So it's just a good real motocross track.
Cool. Okay, well.
I was going to say, just really quickly, how have you done here in the past?
Earlier this year in our MA series, I got third, and then in 2015 here, I won the overall. So pretty good past.
Okay, so we have some social media questions for you. The first one is from Mike Peters, and he says, understandably, it takes some time to get back to a winning pace after a major crash like the one you had last year at Thunder Valley. What does it take mentally, though, to regain the confidence to push in front and to show your competitors that you're still one to beat?
You know, it is, I don't know, a lot of the racing is just in your head. You know, for me, I ended up having both shoulders worked on. You know, one was a rotator cuff surgery, the other one was a labrum surgery, and it was a long time off. I didn't get back onto my motorcycle till after the Monster Cup. That was second week of October last year, maybe even the third week, and then we were racing in Anaheim in our Supercross in January. So, and at the same time, I switched brands to Kawasaki. So it was a bit of a time crunch, and you know, we did the best we could. I think we ended up fourth in that series, and then second overall in our American Motocross series.
Okay. All right. Well, second question from Jocelyn Morissette. You've raced the GP riders a few times in your career already, as you mentioned. They obviously race differently than the AMA guys. So what do you think you can take from them, and where do you think that you perhaps have the advantage over them?
You know, I think... well, today I'm really getting the full experience of a GP event because, you know, last week it was cut short by that day. So it's tough to say on how their style is different. You know, I can already tell. It seems like a lot of guys throw down their fast laps right at the end in our practice. That's what just happened to me in the free practice. I was leading the thing and then went all the way to 7th in the last lap. So I don't know. Maybe there's some different strategy there. Most of the time in our series over here, we're wide open the whole time. So just little things like that. And I think I'll get the full experience, you know, here because today we have this weekend's the 2-day event, whereas last week we only had that one day.
Yeah.
And
almost out of time, but you just mentioned there the different strategies in free practice. It might be different in time training this time around. They might go and put them in early because the track will start to deteriorate. And also they don't want to be out on track for another 20 minutes with the heat.
Yeah, maybe you gave me some secrets there. So
well, I'm just, you know, but that's just kind of how it is, isn't it? I mean, I'm not on anybody's side here. It's just, you know, you go from one extreme to the other, and you might go out and bust a first lap, you know, and that might put you pole, and you know, you might have to wait to the end because maybe the track dries out and gets better anyway. You know, it's game of chess.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements to it. Like I said, it can be track, just the right. Yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we are out of time with Eli Tomac, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. Eli, thanks for joining us here this weekend. But before we meet our next guest, Romain Febvre, let's catch up with what happened at the MXGP of Americas in Charlotte. Here's some action from MX2 Race 2.
MX2 Race 2. This time, a night race. Jeremy Seawer on board here making another good start, but it was another MX2 first-timer. Darren Sinai grabbed the foxhole shot with Faulkner close behind in second, Hurlings in third, Cooper Webb buried in 19th after getting tangled through the long sweeping turn with another rider. He had a lot of work to do if he was going to get at least a position on the podium. Faulkner wasting no time going around the outside of Sinai, took over the lead, just like he did in race 1, with Hurlings lurking dangerously in the background in third. He too swiftly moved past Sinai and got himself into second. Bernardini was looking good in 4th place on the TM as well in the early stages. Found his way past Sinai. And then there was a whole freight train of riders that did the same. Jeremy Seawer, Thomas Covington, and in the background, Cooper Webb, who made light work of the MX2 field to get himself inside the top 10. He was 7th at the end of the first lap, going after Thomas Covington and Bernardini. Covington up the inside of the Italian. And then Webb did exactly the same. One corner later before charging past fellow American Thomas Covington to get himself into 4th in what was an epic ride for the number 17. Charged down the inside of Seawer. Wasn't pretty, but it was effective. Cooper Webb all of a sudden in 3rd and going after Jeffrey Hurlings as Covington moved into 4th past Seawer. Jeffrey Hurlings was on borrowed time. The 2 top MX2 riders in the world in a head-to-head shootout, which is exactly what the American fans wanted. And it was Webb who sweeped across the outside of Hurlings to get himself in a second before going after Faulkner. He took the lead with 3 laps to go. Faulkner had no reply, and it was Webb who went on to win his final ever race on a 250, and with it, he won the Monster Energy MXGP of Americas here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jeffrey Hurlings beaten for the first time in 2016. Faulkner 3rd, and of course Jeffrey Hurlings, after 3 years of heartache and pain, finally wraps up his 3rd MX2 world title. Congratulations to Cooper Webb on his success here today. Jeffrey Hurlings, though, will look to try and stand on the top step of the podium at Glen Helen in a week's time.
Well, that was 1 week ago on the East Coast, and our second guest has arrived, Romain Febvre, Monster Energy Yamaha Factory MXGP team. Welcome back to Glen Helen. The last time we came here, 12 months ago, you'd already been crowned MXGP World Champion, but it's fair to say it's been a pretty crazy season for you this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Yeah, for sure, this year was start pretty good till, let's say, the half of the season, and then, yeah, I had a bad crash, so... yeah, missed a few rounds and then went back racing.
Obviously, the first race, Tim was crowned world champion last weekend. How was it for you having to experience that? You know what it's like to win a title, and then you come by and you see Tim celebrating, and you know, was it something that you kind of felt, you know, that was tough to watch, or do you not really care about it? You know, what was going through your head at that time, knowing that you know, the championship was finally done?
Yeah, you know, for sure, I was really disappointed. Like, I already, like, let's say, prepare myself already from my crash in England, because I knew that I gonna miss 2 rounds, and then 2 rounds means many points and half of the championship, and like Tim, I think he won all motos when I was not there, so he took directly 100 points, and then I was ready, like mentally, I was ready then yeah, I tell myself like the championship it's gone. So you just need to came back racing and just take my level back, and then that's the main points. I hope this weekend I can do good. But yeah, team he was good this year, consistently, always he was there. So yeah, I cannot take anything about that.
You mentioned that you prepared yourself, the championship was gone. But I guess that was the worst part. But also the fact that you weren't even allowed to race. So the frustration there as well.
Yeah, for sure. The frustration, for sure. But it's like this. It's racing. I could not try it. I try like 2 days before Mantova. I try, and then I could not see from my right eyes. So I could not. When racing, I could not be concentrated. So I could not train physically. I missed 1 month. I was 1 month out, and then yeah, it's like this. When like I did everything I can, let's say, to try, but I could not. So I have no regret. Just yeah, it's like this. It's racing. I had bad crash, and yeah, I cannot do something else.
But not all doom and gloom. We just saw the crash a moment ago from Matterly while you were talking to Lisa. But France, your final Grand Prix, the 3rd one of the season. This battle with Tim in the first race was epic, wasn't it?
Yeah, first and second moto was epic. I really enjoy it, and always like on the front of the French crowd. It's always amazing. Yeah, I was, let's say, disappointed after the first moto because I came really close but could not pass him, and then second moto. Yeah, did it, won the GP, so second in a row in France, so it's always good.
The Monster Energy Motocross of Nations is fast approaching in a couple of weekends' time. France go there as the defending champions. How much are you looking forward to going to Majora and representing Team France again as the defending champions?
It's good. I mean, already last year 2 came. They won 2 years ago, and then 2 came with the number 1, 2, 3. It's always good. Last year was really special because it was in France, so like the crowd was amazing. But for sure in Italy it will be also epic. So it will be nice. But yeah, this year I will wear the number 1. So we will see what I can do. But definitely no pressure. It's not. Let's say it's not like my championship in MXGP, so yeah, I will do my best and we see where we end.
The French fans are incredible. Do you have a message for any of the fans going to Majora?
Yeah, I hope they will come, like many of them. It's always nice. I think in France we get the best crown. It's not because I'm French, but everyone say it, so I mean, I think it's one of the best. Italy also. It's not far from many countries, so I hope we will have a lot of crowd.
Okay.
If you were to look in this camera here in front of you, what would you say to the French fans now going to Majora in French?
Just came, yeah.
In French?
In France.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Oh, you need to think about that.
Venez nombreux et soutenez vraiment, soyez vraiment derrière la France.
Cool.
And what was that?
It's mean, yeah, came, I don't know.
Just come and support us?
Yeah, come supporters, but like many of them. Like.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have some social media questions for you, Romain. One from MX Justin says, what did you learn from this season to improve for the next one?
Yeah, actually, like, let's say not so much, just yeah, I had bad crash, like I say, so I could not take anything from that, but like, I was prepared beginning of the season again. I was leading the championship, everything was good. I had, let's say, a little bit more pressure because I came like defending the championship, but yeah, everything was good, and then I was battling with Tim almost every moto, so was really good. And I think like many of the moto we did, like we was the level of myself and Tim was higher than the other, so it means that everything was good. The speed consistently, just we was missing the start a little bit. It's between, let's say, the bike and myself. So we need to work for sure on this point this winter again to start really like on the front, because Tim was always starting on the front. So when you get the speed and you start on the front, it's difficult to catch him. So yeah, we see. Yeah, not so much about this year compared last year.
Okay, well, the next question was from Charles CDC, and he says, have you found a way to make better starts? And he says, thank you and keep up the good work. I mean, I know you're going to work on your starts for next year, but this year, have you been working on them at all?
Yeah, we start, let's say, late because we was, I just want to have the good bike on the track, and I was not really scared about the start, even let's say, like last year was the same. The things was to start in top 5, and then after I knew that I was a little bit faster, so I could pass. And it was the goal, and we did it like the first few rounds was good, and then after we saw a team, and also the Hondas, because Gauthier was not starting good, and then at one point he started on the front also, Bobby also. Keroli, as always, sometimes is like Nigel, they start all good, so it was coming, let's say, difficult to start on the front. So we did some improvement, but I think was not enough. And then we did the last few rounds again a big step on the bike. But now I'm a little bit I struggle a little bit more on the track because we have a different engine to start better, but on the track I don't like so much. So we're gonna, let's say, work between those engines in the winter time and to be better next year.
Okay.
All right, well, I hope that answers all the questions. Well, we are out of time here with Romain Febvre, Monster Energy Yamaha MXGP factory team. But before we meet our final guest, Jean-Michel Bayle, let's have a look at 1 or 2 promotions and 1 or 2 events coming up in the future. Well, don't forget, 5 weeks from now, the Super Motocross Riders and Manufacturers Cup that takes place at the Veltins Arena in Germany on October the 8th. Kawasaki will announce its team this evening live on Facebook after the qualifying race press conference around about 4:45, 5 o'clock local time. Brent Van Donnick, Romain Febvre, Benoit Paturel and Justin Barsha are named for Yamaha. We've got Jasikonis, Jeremy Seewer, Weimer for Suzuki. KTM's lineup includes Ryan Dungey, Marvin Muscat and Jeffrey Hurlings, while Husqvarna will run with Jason Anderson, Zach Osborne and Max Nagel. And the newly crowned MXGP World Champion Tim Geiser will team up with Gauthier Paulin, Evgeny Bobryshev for Honda. Don't forget our summer special on MXGPTV.com, saving 70% on this year's season pass is still on. And of course, you can watch everything that's been happening throughout the season on demand, but also the Monster Energy FIA Motocross of Nations and the SMX Riders Cup live and on demand as well. So what are you waiting for? And of course, we haven't mentioned it yet, but Jeffrey Hurlings, of course, was crowned MX2 World Champion for the 3rd time 1 week ago at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. So congratulations to everybody over at Red Bull KTM and Jeffrey Hurlings as well. But I'm pleased to say that our final guest is in position, and sporting manager for Team HRC, Jean-Michel Bayle, joins us now, and welcome back to California, and a place I know you know very well, and a venue where you've won 2 Grand Prix here in 500, 91 and 92?
Yes, that's true.
Looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, last race of the year. So, it's good. It's always good to start the season, but it's always good also to finish it. Yeah. So it's a good week.
Well, obviously we were in Charlotte last week. We're now in California. What have you been doing during the week? Has it been time out, fishing, climbing, cycling?
No, this is a little bit my second hometown. So I saw my friend, and so it was good to be back in California. And especially after the title in Charlotte with Team Geiser. So that was very good for the team and for HRC, because it was a long time. Then HRC didn't win a major championship, so we are very happy.
Well, talking about that, obviously in the final ways, I guess in many ways, it has been a successful season for Honda with Tim winning, like you say. But how would you evaluate the season of the riders at Team HRC, Gauthier Paulin and Evgeny Bobryshev, starting first of all with Gauthier?
Difficult season for Gauthier, of course. We have a lot of expectation with him since 2 years, and I think it's difficult for him to try to win every time. He's not in position. He's not consistent, and it's difficult. Yeah, so it was very difficult with Gauthier this year. But we have many riders. That's why we have 3 riders, is to try to get one with a title. We start with 3 and we have 1 title.
How much do you think Gauthier's qualifying race crash affected him, or didn't it? Because he was back on the podium again in Matterley.
Yeah, the qualifying race in France.
In France, yeah. Yeah, it's always not so good to crash like this because it was a very big crash. But also when you are crashing like this, it's because you are sometimes trying a little bit too much, and sometimes you push the limit too much and you make mistake. So yeah, it's.
Would you say
it was terrible crash, and already I think he was lucky to go out of this crash without a major injury. So, but yeah, also it was a big crash.
But 1 week later. I think 1 week or 2 weeks later when we went to Great Britain, he was back on the podium, and we could see the expression on his face, how much it meant for him, because I know he was disappointed not to even start the GP in France,
yes.
But to be back on the podium after such a big crash. Did you have to do anything to try and get him back up to some kind of confidence levels in that time?
Yeah, but this is what is difficult with Gauthier is because he's not always consistent.
Yeah.
So we all know that he's capable to win race and he's able to ride the bike like nobody on the track. But that's not enough to be world champion and to win every week. So it's he have to work on this side, and we try to help him all the time. But I am not on the bike, and we are not on the bike. He's doing, his job, and I'm sure he tried to improve, but it's not easy.
Sure. And what about Russian Bob, Evgeny? The last 5 or 6 rounds seem to have been a bit difficult for him in terms of the overall classification. What's been going on there? Why is that?
Bobby started very well this winter. He was riding very fast, and same. We have a lot of expectation with him. He did some good race, but. Bobby, it's we are waiting for a win with Bobby, because I think he will give a lot to him, and he will change his mind also. So, but he's a very nice guy. He's easy to work with. He's got never excuse. He's always trying to improve, and he's working hard. It's not easy for him because I think some people have a lot of talent and some people are a little bit less. Yeah. And Bobby is a very good rider, but sometimes you see then he's making little mistake. But he's always trying to improve things, improve the bike, and so for us he's a very good member of the team.
Last year, Gauthier and Bobby were second and third. So, do you think perhaps this year they've both fallen below expectation in your opinion?
This year is different because we have a new young rider coming in the team. Team Geyser was there, so for them it was a little bit more pressure. So I think they try to push a little bit more hard and they start to make mistake. They knew that team was very fast already all winter. So I think they came to the season with a goal to show that they were there for the number one in the team. But Team Geyser is a very good rider. He's riding very fast, so he put the level so high. Then it was very hard to keep up with him.
Well, what has impressed you most about Tim Geyser this year?
Coming from 250 to 450 so easily. Yeah, he impressed me a lot. But it was already like that in a winter testing. He was already riding very good. This is a kind of rider then. You give him a good big bike, it's more easy for him because he's got more power and his talent is coming out. You can see his talent more on the 450 than on the 250. Yeah. He controls the throttle very well, and he's got good. He can see the line very well also on the track. So yeah, he's very talented and he's a very good rider right now.
Well, Tim Geyser was Crown World Champion last week in MXGP, the first time since Frédéric Bollé, back in the 250 days. But Jean-Michel Bayle, thanks for joining us here this weekend. Don't go anywhere. We are out of time, though. It is the final round of this year's MXGP World Championship. We are at Glen Helen in Southern California. Don't forget, later on today at 3:10, you can watch the MX2 qualifying race live on MXGPTV.com, and at 4 o'clock, MXGP qualifying race with all the action tomorrow. And don't forget, live on Facebook this afternoon, around about 4:45, 5 o'clock, after the qualifying riders press conference, Kawasaki will announce their team for the upcoming Monster Energy SMX Riders and Manufacturers Cup. So make sure you join us for that live on Facebook later on today. Well, that's it. We're out of time here. It was the final studio show of the season for MXGP. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time when we return in Majora for the FIM Monster Energy Motocross Nations. We hope you can join us then for that. But in the meantime, enjoy the racing this weekend. We'll see you then. Bye for now.